Grab a cup of tea or a glass of wine and tune in for Inspired Conversations with publisher Linda Joy. On Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern, Linda creates sacred space for leading female luminaries, empowering authors, heart-centered female entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers. A soulful venue where guests openly share the fears and obstacles they've overcome, wisdom and lessons learned, and the personal journey that led them to the transformational work they do in the world. Inspired Conversations to empower you on your path to authentic, soulful living.
Welcome to Inspired Conversations. I'm your host, Linda Joy, publisher of the beloved Aspire magazine. I'm still pinching myself that Aspire is coming up on her 20th anniversary in February of 2026. And if you, my beautiful friend, have not claimed your free subscription, yes, it's free, always has been. It's my service project to the world to remind women of the truth of who they are. I invite you to go to subscribe to aspire.com. Grab your free subscription and all your bonus gifts. And today, my friends, I want to say thank you for circling up with me and my special guest. And I'm going to tell you, get ready to activate your quantum flow to magnetize abundance, opportunities, and joy. Because in today's enlightening episode, you'll learn how to overcome your fight or flight response and create a state of flow. With me today is New York Times bestselling author and an old friend of mine, Christy Whitman. She'll be equipping you with the tools to effortlessly enter this flow state in any situation. And come on, guys, you know life gets lifey. And we really need this support. And I have known Christy for God over 15 years and have turned to her wisdom, have her in my summits and my events, my books, because she's a powerhouse of information, transformation, and spiritual guidance. So let me tell you a little bit about her, and then we're going to bring her into this beautiful conversation. Christy's a two-time New York Times bestselling author and has been a transformational leader for the past 25 years, teaching how to manifest and create their life, having it all in life through deliberate application of the universal laws. She helps lead clients in private and group sessions and courses through their personal, mental, emotional, and energetic spiritual transformation through her books, seminars, meditations, and courses. She's also the author of 7 books, including, and we're going to be talking about this today, I'm so excited, her upcoming book, The Flow Factor, which is going to be available on 9/23, but don't worry, it's available for pre-order now. So welcome, Christy. I am so excited for this conversation.
Me too, Linda. Thank you so much. I was thinking about that. It's been 15 years that I've known you, and congratulations on serving, for 20 years through Aspire magazine. That is amazing.
Well, I've been blessed to have you as one of my cover features, darling.
I'm the cover girl.
When I heard about your new book, as soon as I got the news and I saw the title, because one of my favorite phrases in life and business, and my clients laugh, is like, my day unfolds with ease, grace, and flow, right? And that's my intention for my life. It has been for years. So when I saw your title, I'm like, oh, we gonna have a juicy conversation.
Yes.
So the flow factor is all about how to master your energy and enter a state of flow. But let's go back a little bit before that. What led you to know this was the next book to write?
Well, it's funny because, this will be my 7th book, and that is a magical number. And after I wrote The Desire Factor, I was like, I think I'm done, right? Yeah. We as the personalities make a decision, spirit's like, but I had someone from a university in Europe contact me and say, I want to give you a PhD in your public works. And so I started that conversation with them. And the one question this gentleman asked me was, what haven't you said yet? What haven't you brought out of everything that you've written and all the courses that you've taught over 25 years? What haven't you said yet? And so I started this project really as like my thesis of what I was going to get my public works PhD in. And going through and going back to school and having to do formatting and editing and all that stuff, that did not feel like flow to me. It felt like, okay, I'm in a totally different place that I don't really want to know about, learn about. And it felt like I was pushing up against something. And I wasn't getting that support even from downloads, ideas that I normally do when I write a book or when I create a course. And so I just sat with the council and I said, what if I pivot and make this a book because it needs to still be out there? And now that I'm aware that this information is so leading edge and life changing, and anyone that's read the book is like, whoa, you know, maybe I just pivot away from getting my PhD. And that's what I did. So instead of this becoming my thesis, it's now become my seventh book.
Oh, I love that. And something you just said too, I want to bring this into the conversation because you mentioned the council. So for those who are new to you, new to your message, new to your wisdom, do you want to share a brief explanation of what the council is?
Yes. So the council that I bring through is called their full name, their birth certificate name, I always tease, is the Divine Quantum Council of Light. And they're ascended masters that their consciousness comes through me. So I need to raise my consciousness, or I need to raise my vibration in order to receive them. They lower their vibration and we meet in the middle and we do sessions with people to help them release their blocks. And I've been a coach for 25 years, and when I bring in the council, they see things that I can't as a human see. And so they're able to, that's why this book, I talk a lot about in the flow factor that there are those survival states, which most people know about, the fight, flight, freeze, fawn. But how do you really let go of that energetically and release it so that you can get back into the higher state of flow? So the council has been writing books with me. All of my books have been written with them. It's like a download that comes from them. They're my guides. They are my, deepest intuition and the deepest wisdom that comes through me.
I love that explanation. And I've known you so long and I've experienced some of your downloads and channelings through projects that we've done. And it's so beautiful and so pure as it comes through. So I just wanted to share that and bring that into the conversation for those that were curious. So let's get your definition of flow.
Flow is who we are. Flow is something that we all have access to. Bottom line, flow feels good. Like I was explaining, going towards my PhD, it didn't feel good. It felt like it was bumpy, it was rocky, and it wasn't something, it's like learning a new task that you're excited about, right? You move through it and there's passion, there's purpose, there's willingness, there's ease. That's flow. But when you're pushing up, you feel like you're pushing a boulder up against a mountain. When you feel like things like you're just drudging, or you feel like you're stuck, or you feel like you're constantly fighting, that's not flow. So flow is ease. Flow is alignment. Flow is, it just feels good.
I love that. I use the word like for me in my body, I can tell when I'm in flow because everything feels expansive and possible.
Yes.
And when in my ego mind and I want to go make something happen or push, which is how I led my first 30 years of my life, it really like now I have that awareness and I can feel the energy. I feel like a weight is on me. I feel like my whole heart and everything is so constricted. Do you feel it physically too?
I feel it mentally, emotionally, and physically.
Yeah.
So what's one of the things that we talk about in the flow factor is that we have four bodies, right? We know about our physical body. So there's the physical body, there's the mental body, the emotional body, and then our soul body, our energy body, our light body. And it's like a tipping point when the mental body is out of flow or thinking thoughts or speaking words or holding images that don't feel good. It's going to then tip into our emotions, which then we're going to feel an emotion such as fear, dread, whatever that may be, an emotion that doesn't feel good. And then that's going to affect our physical body, which then affects our energy body. And when you can deliberately master your own energy, such as choosing different thoughts that are back in flow, that then creates a chain reaction where you're then going to feel more expansive. You're going to feel more of those positive emotions, eagerness, hopeful, excited, those type of emotions. That then creates a biochemical reaction in your physical body. And then, of course, your energy is now magnetic to what you do want.
I just love this conversation because one of the things for me too is I've been on my path of, self-discovery for 33 years, but for a long time, I was disconnected from my physical body, right? So I spent a lot of time healing my spiritual, emotional energy. But it wasn't until I started to integrate my body in, which was a healing I had to really go through from childhood stuff. That's when I feel like I really stepped into my full power. We have to be integrated on all four, right? Physical, mental, energy, and soul.
Exactly.
And for me, that's when I really notice, and I can tell when I'm out of alignment because I feel it emotionally first, the constriction of my solar plexus, all that. And then I catch it in the mental going, oh, flip your thought. What were you just thinking about that brought that on? Because I don't want it to settle in my physical body.
Well, that's just it. It does. We know this now. I mean, modern science have shown this. I mean, have so many studies that their mental body, the thoughts that we think, and the emotions that we have affect the physical body. And so when someone has something physical going on, whether it's disease or whether it's pain or discomfort, when you are working with your energy to change your thoughts, to release the stuck emotions, it no longer is stuck in the body. I like to think of it as like if you have a bathtub and you're going to go take a bath and you put the stopper for the water to drain out, but you keep the water running, it's going to flow over, right? Because it's going to get it's going to go over than the bathtub can contain. Where our emotional body is the same way. It's like if we're plugging it up by not feeling ourselves, not embodying, not processing the energy of that emotion, it's like it continues to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's got no other place to go. So it then goes into the physical body, creating havoc there, getting out of alignment mentally and emotionally creates a place of misalignment in our physical bodies.
Yeah, and I think we've all experienced that at one time or another in our lives. Now I try to catch it before it becomes a message.
Yes, exactly. When you're aware of, oh my gosh, I'm saying that, or, I'm thinking this, or I've been picturing this, and you're able to change it before it becomes a big old emotion, or if you haven't caught the mental stuff yet, all of a sudden you might feel sad, or you might feel worried, or you might feel afraid, right? By processing those emotions. And one of the biggest components that I would definitely want to talk to you about today is self-compassion, because that helps us neutralize negative emotions, lower level emotions. Because when we do that, now we're coming back into neutrality and we're not staying stuck in the fear, in the worry, in the doubt, whatever it is. And then it changes and releases out of our body.
Mm, I love the whole idea of bringing in self-compassion into this conversation. And after our first break, I want to dive into that because that was a big, big thing for me. I could have compassion for everyone else, but in my younger years, I didn't have it for myself. So I'm so glad you're bringing that in. So we'll be back in a moment, my friends. I want to invite you to learn more about the Flow Factor book, and as I shared, it's available for pre-order with some amazing bonus gifts. You can go to theflowfactorbook.com and get all the details. We'll be right back.
Are you feeling called to shift your mindset, clear limiting beliefs, and enhance your overall well-being? Shiftology is your answer. Known as the intuitive truth detective, Terry Wildeman helps clients release stress, clear internal blocks, and make confident, values-driven decisions so they can thrive personally and professionally. As a leadership and executive coach, speaker, author, and intuitive guide with over 40 years of experience, she's the founder of Intuitive Leadership and creator of Shiftology, including the Shiftology Success System, a set of interactive tools that blend leadership strategy, mindset work, and intuitive insight to create meaningful, lasting transformation. And she's the host of the Shiftology Live podcast. Terry's Shiftology process powers her Unlock the Power in You programs, webinars, and courses. Learn more at intuitiveleadership.com.
Welcome back. You're listening to Inspired Conversations. I am with my friend Christy Whitman, author of many books, including the forthcoming The Flow Factor. So right before the break, Christy, you talked about self-compassion. So let's continue that conversation because the majority of my listeners are women, and I've had so many conversations in my own private communities about how much they struggle with that. It's always judgment, beating themselves up, and that only makes things worse, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, judgment, if you have judgment, you don't have compassion. And so there's a graph in the Flow Factor book that is so magical that shows that there are 3 states of being. And I've been talking about this for decades, right? It's like there are 3 buckets of states of being and spectrums within those buckets. And the first one is lack. Lack, scarcity, limitation does not feel good. Anytime you are feeling an emotion, have a perspective, doing a behavior that is coming from lack, it does not feel good. And judgment, criticism, condemnation, persecution, all of that feels bad because it's coming from lack. The second bucket is satisfaction. This is where I talk about, the 7 essential laws. And one of those laws that I feel is the most important is the law of sufficiency and abundance. Not just the law of abundance, it's the law of sufficiency and abundance, because sufficiency, that's where we get neutral. We're no longer feeling bad. We may not feel over the moon like we would in the third bucket of abundance, but we're in that second state of being. And that's where peace and harmony and compassion, and I feel settled, I feel calm. That's where that comes in. And compassion is a neutralizer to the scarcity and the lack. Because if we're feeling bad, it's because we've either been judged and then we start judging ourselves, or like you were saying, life happens, right? Life is lifing. So when things are happening, maybe someone posts a negative comment on something that you post on social media, or someone gives you a dirty look, during a time when you're driving, or someone spills something on you, or just something happens. Your teenager is rude to you, your elderly parent isn't appreciative. Whatever the situation is, when we are stuck in the lack of it, we are in survival mode of the fight, flight, freeze, even fawn. And the only way to get out of it, to move from lack and into that higher states of abundance, is through neutrality, through compassion. So when we're giving ourselves compassion, we're no longer judging ourselves. And when we're in a space of compassion, we really don't have to forgive, because there's nothing to forgive, because we're in compassion. So self-compassion, and most people don't know how to do it, and I'm going to tell you in a minute, it's like, oh, I have compassion for them, I have compassion for them. But what about yourself? You can't give away what you don't feel. We are an energy receiver, we are an energy container, and we are energy transmitters. And if we are empty inside, what are we transmitting out? We're not transmitting out that higher frequency, or that, at least that neutrality of that compassion. And so compassion, I like to think of it as, I live in Arizona, right? It's like when you try to go from lack all the way over to abundance, like I feel bad, but I want to feel good. It's like trying to jump the Grand Canyon from one side to the other. Compassion is that bridge that allows you to move between those different states. And compassion, I like to say it's like a 3-step process. And Linda, you're going to love this, because in the back of the Flow Factor, there's an appendix that has all of these different energy mastery practices broken down into our 4 bodies. So if your mind is having, you're fighting in your mind with something, you're having mental, just chaos going on, there's processes for the mind. There's processes for if you're stuck in the emotions or you can't get out of an emotion. There's processes for the emotional body. There's processes for the physical body, and then for the energy body. And many of them contain compassion, because getting out of lack and scarcity, getting out of that place of despair, and when you feel like there's just no solution or you're totally confused and you don't have any hope for getting out, compassion is different than feeling sorry for yourself. Compassion is where you invite in something greater than yourself, such as your soul that is always with you, and you turn your attention and your focus off of what's making you feel bad and surrendering it over to your energetic source, your soul, which never is in a place of lower than compassion. Your soul beams and vibrates at compassion or higher. So when we can invite in and even look towards our soul to bring us the energy and that feeling of comfort, that's the first thing. And sometimes people without practice can't get there. If like you're newer to that, it's like, what do you mean I'm inviting my soul? Okay, I'm inviting in my soul. But just having that feeling like an angel is just wrapping you in its wings, right? If someone can visualize that, it's very comforting. If you can feel that, it's even more comforting. But the second piece to that is hug yourself. Like just literally hug yourself right now. I don't care if you're driving. I don't care if you're on a treadmill. Wherever you're at right now, wrap your arms around you. First of all, this allows all your attention and energy to literally come back into yourself. And that somatic hug, that feeling of hugging yourself and being there for yourself, and keep doing it for 90 seconds. Don't just go, yeah, hug, and then that's not going to do anything. Wrap your arms around yourself, hug yourself like you mean it, hug yourself like you would hug your most precious child or someone that you absolutely adore and love, and hug yourself and give yourself that squeeze. Because what's going to happen now is your limbic system is going to relax, your whole nervous system is going to relax. You feel that sense of, like I've got this. Take a breath in, breathe out. And now the third part, as you are hugging yourself, continuing to do that, tell yourself something supportive. Tell yourself something that comes from compassion, like, it's okay. This is going to work out. That didn't feel good, but you're okay. You'll be all right. Things always work out for you. I love you. We got this. And see how different you feel now? That's the magic of compassion.
And it's so funny because as you told us, Mita, all of us to hug ourselves, I was doing it. And you know what the first thing I noticed? I automatically smiled.
Yes.
It was like I wasn't conscious, and all of a sudden I go, oh my goodness. Because I think it is the truth of who we are, right?
Yes.
So it was just what I noticed. I gave myself that big hug and a smile came to my face. And I'm like, oh my God, that's interesting how it just was organic like that.
Yeah. Because we are not taught from small children, right? We learn our coping mechanisms, whether we had, like I did in my family, there was a lot of dysfunction, a lot of mental and emotional and sometimes physical abuse. And as a small kid, it's like, I didn't know to hug myself. I didn't know how to soothe myself. So what did I do? Like a bunny in the desert to any animal that exists, including us as humans, we go into our survival mode. We either run, we flee from the scene, right? We stay stuck and just freeze, or we start fighting back. And we may not do it physically, like I may not yell at my dad to stop yelling at my mom, but in my head, I might be fighting with my dad. And so we learn these different mechanisms. I was just telling someone the other day, when I was 7 years old, my sister was 11 years older than me, and she lived in California. And every time she left, she smoked cigarettes. Every time she left, everybody would be sad because she was leaving. And I remember sitting at the airport, everybody was sad, and I grabbed her cigarette and I took a drag of her cigarette. And in the moment, it was like it relieved me from the sadness I was feeling. So what did I learn in that moment when I was 7? That if I want to feel better, I've got to smoke a cigarette, or I've got to do something like use some kind of a vice to take me out of how I'm feeling, instead of just processing the sadness and feeling the soothing and the compassion. And I was a smoker. I was a pack and a half a day smoker up until my mid-20s. And thank God I, was able to kick that vice and many others. But that's what I learned how to cope. And that's part of the flight. I'm leaving myself, I'm running away from myself. And you were mentioning, Linda, that a lot of your listeners are women. How many of us can't sit still? We got to do and more, and got to clean, and then got to reorganize, and then got to take on more and say yes to everybody, because we're not staying with ourselves to be present,
It's
to
a big
feel.
one. It's a big one about not feeling. And I run different private communities, and we have monthly calls, and I listen. I just listen to what's they're feeling and going through, and fear, being stuck. And we're going to talk about this. We're going to take a break, but survival mode right now, stressed, struggling, and nervous system dysregulation is through the roof right now.
Yeah.
So let's take a break, and we're going to come back in a moment, my friends. I'm with Christy Whitman. I want to invite you to get on the pre-order list for her new book, which is coming out September 23rd. You can go to theflowfactorbook.com. We'll be right back.
Coaches and aspiring guides, this is your time to increase your income and help clients experience real soul-aligned breakthroughs. Become a certified life purpose prosperity soul guide and learn how to help clients embody their elemental astrological archetypes for heart-aligned success, creating lasting shifts they'll deeply value and happily share. This nature-aligned certification provides you with practical tools to support your client's unique purpose and prosperity pathway, opening up powerful new ways to expand your business and increase your income. Lisa Michaels, creator of the Life Purpose Prosperity Blueprint, with over 30 years of proven results, personally mentors you through this dynamic system, grounding cosmic wisdom in earth-honoring leadership practices. Watch a free masterclass revealing how this sacred strategic work can elevate your offerings and your impact. Visit lisa-michaels.com/soulguide to explore your expansion opportunity today.
You're listening to Inspired Conversations. Thanks for circling up today with myself and my special guest, Christy Whitman. We're talking about flow, emotions, fight, flight, freeze, fawning, all of it, to help you understand that you have the power to choose, right? You get the power to choose your thoughts, choose your energy. And right before the break, we just started to touch on about, well, you went deep into self-compassion, but I want to talk about something else about right now. So many women feel, and I'm having these conversations, they're either stuck in survival mode, stressed, struggling, anxious. And for some, they're like, Lynn, I can't get my nervous system regulated. That's a disconnect from the truth of who they are, isn't it?
It is, because
And I've been there. This is no judgment, ladies. I've been there way too many times to count.
No, yeah, absolutely no judgment. It's compassion for yourself for going through it and understanding it's part of being human. So it's not to judge yourself. And definitely, I'm not, or Linda's not judging anybody here. We all go through it. It's the human aspect. We all have that human survival instinct. And as ridiculous as it is to kill the ego and get over the ego, I mean, it's the same thing. We cannot go, okay, I'm going to get over fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, survival mode. We can't. It's wired into us. Just like our brains, as much as it's great to stay in the present moment, our brains are wired to think about the past, come back to the present, think about the future, come back to the present. It cycles all the time. And it's doing that naturally. And we don't want to fight the natural order of things. We want to learn how to work with the natural order of things. And one of the biggest things I talk about in the book is this idea of contrast, meaning what we don't want. So if you're feeling stressed, if you're overwhelmed, if you're totally confused and just freaking out with anxiety, it's because we're focused on the contrast, what we don't want. And contrast is something that we can utilize for ourselves as the first step in manifestation. Most people miss that step when wanting to create something different or better or manifest something. Contrast has the ability to show us, this is what I don't want. I don't want to feel stressed. I don't want to lose my marriage. I don't want to gain weight. I don't want to get old. I don't want to this. I don't want to that. And most of us stay in the don't wants because we're either pushing against what we don't want or we're moving towards what we do. And when we're moving towards what we do, we feel good. When we're pushing against what we don't want, we feel bad. And one of the things that the council realized when they were working on my son, when he had a bit of a brain trauma, because he decided that he saw his friend that knows how to do a backflip, he thought, I've got to love the confidence, Linda. He's like, oh, I could do that too. And then landed on the back of his head. Yeah, very blessed that nothing else happened to him. But as the council was healing his brain, they were kind of tinkering in there going, hey, there's a pleasure center here. Hey, what happens when we touch this and activate this pleasure center? The opposite happens. It's like a teeter-totter, like a light switch. Pleasure center is either on or it's off. And when it's off, what's happening is you're in the avoidance of pain. And so we do this naturally. But when we realize that we have the power, like you were saying, we have free will, we can choose. We can choose our emotions. We can choose our thoughts. We can choose our perspectives. We can choose the words that we think. I have a whole 30-day series. I know I've said this to you before, called Watch Your Words. You can go there. It's free, watchyourwords.com. And it tells you for 30 different words and phrases, you get a video every day, 2 to 3 minutes in length, tells you what not to say, why, and what to say instead. Because even the words that we speak spark the thoughts. And then the thoughts create the beliefs and the perspectives, which then create how we feel, which then create the actions and the behaviors that we do or take. So things start with our words, and there are 30 words and phrases that people say all the time that are straight out of the drama triangle, that are straight out of lack, which we talked about that. Lack always feels bad. So when we notice something we don't want, we want to ask ourselves 3 questions. I've been doing this for over 25 years, and I'm telling you, it shifts everything. Does it change the situation, the circumstance, and everything with it in that moment? No, but it changes your own energy, which then eventually will. The form will change once you've shifted your energy. So when you notice that you're up against contrast, what you don't want, ask yourself, what do I want? Most women don't give themselves permission to even ask themselves that question. What do I want? And then why? Why do I want that? Because now you're getting your emotional body involved. What do I want? Why do I want? Why do I want it? And then the third question is, how do I think I'm going to feel when I have it? And that's the biggest ding, 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 because anything we think we want, we think we're going to feel better in having it. We think that we're going to feel, if I have more money, I'll feel successful. If I have more money, I'll have more security. If I have a partner, then I'll feel love. Well, all of those emotions, like keys on the piano, they're available to us now. We're the piano player, we're the chooser, and we get to go up to that piano and play the notes that we want to play. That potential, that pure potentiality, that energy, that positive source of substance, which is energy, is accessible to us. It's pure, it's positive. And the minute we as a human being say compassion, that's when it starts to form into that particular frequency. When we say joy, then we get to access and receive that frequency, like the different keys on the piano.
I love this. And what I loved about the questions, which I wrote down, by the way, is it's like a reframe. We get stuck in that thought pattern of, I don't have enough, this life sucks, this is going to happen. It's like we're always projecting our worst case scenarios, which
Yes.
comes from that fear and I call it lower vibration energies, because that's how we're programmed. But we have the power, as you just beautifully described in your questions, to say, I'm going to choose something from the higher vibrations. And that's what those questions do, because what do I want gets us to focus on, stop focusing on what we don't want. So that to me was an immediate reframe. So I could feel the energy shift of those questions.
They're
It was in my
powerful.
body.
Yeah, they're powerful. And
Is it
here's the
because,
thing. Go
don't
ahead.
you think we're just so programmed to expect the worst? And abundance is a big one. I have some brilliant, amazing clients, but they have their money stories, their abundance stories from their own past and experiences, of course. And I tell them, have you ever asked your soul if that's true for you? I said, or is that a script that you picked up since childhood? That, I can't have a business, I can't do this. Who's going to pay me with the world the way it is? And I'm like, well, if that's the energy you're putting out, it can never happen.
Right. Exactly. So we're pushing up against the pain, expecting the worst, or we're joyfully expecting what we do want. And that's all up to us.
But it's so hard for some to get it, because they actually, I think I've had so many conversations over the last 30 years. I think so many people believe their thoughts are the truth of who they are. They
Yes.
think it is like the all that is. And I'm like, your thoughts are not that. It's your instincts, your gut, your heart, the things that make you feel expansive, that are the truth of who you are. You just don't know how to connect with it because you were never shown. Do you find that conversation also too?
Well, all the time. And I remember when I first met my meditation teacher, this is like almost 35 years ago, I sat down in front of her and she looked deep into my soul. Nobody ever looked at me like that before. And she looked deep into my soul and she said, "You create your own reality." And something in me, I'd never heard that. This is like before the internet, right? This is like, there was no Secret out. There was no Aspire magazine. There was nothing out there. Like I had to search to, even after she told me, to like, well, how? But she said, you create your own reality. And something in me opened up that had never opened up before. And I connected to something that I had never connected to, but it was always there. And my then human mind went, how? How do I create my own reality? And she said, by your thoughts. You're either repelling things from you or attracting things to you based on the way you think. And she could see, Linda, I was so tweaked in that. Like, what do you mean, my thoughts? I thought I was my thoughts. And she told me, and I'm going to tell everybody here, just pay attention to your thoughts. Pay attention to them. Be an observer of them. Don't take them to heart. Don't look at them as truth. Just like there's music playing in the background, like just tune into the thoughts that you're thinking, because you will be amazed. But the thing is that you are not your thoughts. You are this amazing, magnificent human being and soul that's like, most of you is non-physical. You have a mind, but you're not your mind. And inside of your mind, we have 5 things that we as humans have control over. 3 of those things are part of the mind: what we say, our words, what words we choose, what we think. Those thoughts are not you, and they're not real, and most of them aren't true. And then the perspectives. Are we looking at what we don't want and holding that image, or are we shifting it into what we do want? And then there's emotions and our actions. I mean, shifting our perspective, the pictures, the visions that we hold in our minds, they all work together. You change the pictures, the thoughts change. You change the thoughts, the pictures change. But we're the ones, right? It's like going to a movie theater and you're going to go watch a movie. So you can choose what movie you're going to go watch. The light, the projector, is going to still project whatever film you put in there. If we're watching a horror movie and we don't want to watch a horror movie, we want rather watch a love story, We're the ones that gets to choose which theater we go into, which tapes we play, what movie we run in our own minds. It's not based on anybody else. Yes, we've been conditioned. Yes, we've had programming, but that's where the survival stuff comes in, the fight, flight, freeze, fawn. All of that, that's where our stories keep us stuck. That's the freeze, right? That's where we keep sharing the same reality that maybe our parents lived and never challenged it and never thought we could because we thought that was what's real.
I love that story about the movie theater. Isn't it like that too? It's like, what thoughts are we letting run the show right now?
Yeah.
And we're going to take our final break. When we come back, I want to talk about, in our final segment, like how free will is essential, because I think a lot of people struggle with what free will is.
Perfect.
So we'll be back in a moment. And again, I want to invite you to learn more about Christy's forthcoming book, available 9/23, but available for pre-order right now. And you want to get on over there because it includes bonus gifts. You can do so at theflowfactorbook.com. We'll be right back, my friends.
Are you ready to create and live the divinely guided life intended for you? A life not bound by your past or tied to a specific future. A life beyond your fears and what ifs that is filled with limitless possibilities. Experiencing an empowered life of fulfillment, joy, and connection is possible when you embrace a spiritual solutions-centered lifestyle. Through her transformational teachings and programs, Lisa Hermata, empowered life view guide, life transformation mentor, and founder of Love is the Seed, empowers women to break the barriers holding them back from living their sacred truth so they can find greater connection with their inner wisdom and their divine source to co-create a life that brings peace, joy, and self-acceptance. Visit loveistheseed.com for positive guidance and valuable resources to support you in embracing an empowered life view.
Thanks for joining us. You're listening to Inspired Conversations. I'm Linda Joy, and with me today is my dear friend, Christy Whitman. So, Christy, in our last segment, I want to talk about how free will is essential to our human experience and what do we have free will about? Because there's a lot of confusion there for some.
Yeah, so we are spirit, as I wrote in my book, Quantum Success. Who we are, who we know ourselves to be, anything physical that's on this planet is only 4%. Dark matter and what is unmanifested, or another way of saying it is energy, spirit, is the 96%. So the 4% of who we are, we have been given free will, meaning we have 5 elements that we have influence and control over. And it's the only thing we have influence and control over. We've been talking about it. The words that we choose. If I choose words like, oh, I can't do that, that collapses and constricts our energy. It brings us into lack, and then nothing can flow past that. So even just that word, I can't, right? I can't stand it. I can't deal with this. I can't do it. I can't afford it. That's just one word. And when we say that word, we have free will to change what we say. We can say, I can instead of I can't. That's our free will. We have free will over our thoughts. We've been talking about that as well. If you believe the thoughts that run through your head and you believe them as true, then you are mastered by your thoughts instead of you mastering your thoughts. So our thoughts, we have free will in what thoughts we choose to either say, that we choose to think either out loud or to ourselves. We have free will. We get to choose that. Nobody is inside of our head. Nobody's behind us whipping us with a stick, hopefully not, that we can choose what we think. Even Viktor Frankl, when he was in the middle of the Holocaust and like one of the worst case scenarios in the world, he said, nobody has the power to take over my mind and think with my thoughts. So our thoughts, our beliefs, perspectives, the pictures, images that we hold in our minds, when someone's being negative, you could literally Be picturing something positive. I've done this so many times. So we have free will of what we visualize, what we perceive, what we expect, and then our feelings. This is a big one for people. The day that I realized, wait a minute, if I can control my words and I can control my thoughts and I can choose them and I can choose the pictures I'm having in my mind, could I also choose to be joyful? How empowering. I could choose to be joyful instead of upset. I could choose to let this go instead of let this ruin my day. Of course, we have free will. And then, of course, I could choose to either get up and go to the gym, or I could sit here on my couch. I could choose to get up and go for a walk. I could choose to go sit there and pet my dog. I can go choose and go meditate, or I can sit here and complain. We have the choice, but from those choices, and that's the only thing, we can't speak for somebody else. We can't choose for them how they perceive and what they picture and how they live their life, no matter how much we love them. Right? I've got two sons. One's 15 and the other one's 16. Can you believe it? They were babies when you met them. They're babies, but now they're all grown up. And I see one of my sons, he likes to do things the hard way. It's like I watch him literally beat his head, not literally, but beat his head up against the wall, wondering, is he ever going to, it's just the way he does life. He finally gets it after beating his head up a few times. And then his younger brother will look at him and go, that doesn't look like fun. I'm going to do it this way. Right? So as much as his mother, I would love to make it easy for him and teach him it doesn't have to be so hard. And I do, and I mention it and give him my trainings and teachings and all that kind of stuff. He still, in his own mind, has his own perspective. So I can't control him as much as I can try to change my mom and the way she thinks, or make my husband do this or that. The only one that you have free will over is yourself. And that's from your words, your thoughts, your perspectives, your emotions, and your actions. And when your consciousness, which is all those 5 things, matches your soul, compassion, and higher, then you're in flow.
Do you hear that, ladies? Can you feel that in your body? Because I have them written down. And when you said something about the power to choose, my spiritual awakening was from 35 years ago. And I heard on a really tough day, I heard, Linda, you're not a victim. It's the story you keep telling yourself about your childhood that's keeping you in pain. You can choose your narrative. And you'd think me hearing a voice would be the epiphany. It was me hearing that I had a choice to choose my thoughts and story that I was replaying over and over. Like, that was mind-boggling to me. I was 30 years old, so it's 33 years ago. I remember going, what do you mean I have a choice? I don't have to feel this way. I don't have to think this way. And when I started the car 30 minutes later, I had parked the car in a really emotional crisis. When I drove away 30 minutes later, Christy, I was on a mission to figure out what that meant, that free will, that choice, how to shift my thoughts. So everything you just shared so beautifully, and I love the 5 facets of our waking consciousness, really just speaks to my own inner experience. So I think that was powerful, my friend. I appreciate you sharing that with us. We have about 3 minutes left. So you covered so much beautiful material and deep material. What's a message for the woman listening, other than, hey, go get Christy's book, because I'm going to be telling them that over and over again. What's a message you want them to know or remember about the truth of who they are?
Well, the flow that you want and the flow of what you want to feel is already here. You don't have to go get it. You don't have to change. You don't have to go be as someone else. You don't have to go manifest something else. It's with you now. It's energy. It's literally the greatest resource we have, and it's free. It's like having a treasure chest above our heads. Nobody can steal from it. You can't run it. You can't run out of it. Nobody can borrow it. Everybody's got their own. It's yours. And you can tap into it whenever you desire. You just have to know and know that it's there, the flow and all of those frequencies that you want your life experience. It's short. Well, ladies, we're here for a very short period of time. And in that period of time, no matter if you have 40 years left, 30, 20, however many years you have left, this moment right now, with you making a different decision, is all it takes, because you can choose. By choosing compassion, you start opening up the doorway to abundance. By inviting it in, you're now, with that great intention, you're now in the vicinity. You're now in the receiving mode of it. That's all it takes.
I love that visual when you said, we don't have to search for it. Its flow is with us. It is the essence of who we are. It's our thoughts, emotions, words that kind of give us, I call it a glitch in the matrix. Like inside myself, I will actually say, woke up with a glitch in the matrix this morning. It means I'm energetically off. And then I make sure I get back into alignment so that I stay in the flow.
Yes.
So isn't that empowering, ladies, to know that you have the power? It's within you. It's not outside you. And that, to me, that's so liberating. And I want to invite everyone again. I'm going to give you 2 URLs this time, but depending on what platform you're on, all these links are also in the show notes below your listening device. So it's theflowfactorbook.com. So if you're listening before September 23rd, you can get on the pre-order list and get all the bonus gifts. And if you want to learn more about Christy and the work she's doing in the world, which is so magical, you can go to christywhitman.com. Christy, as always, it was wonderful circling up with you today, and I'm so excited for this book.
Thank you so much for having me, Joy. I was going to say Joy. Linda, I appreciate you and all the work that you've done. I appreciate our friendship for all these years. You are a joy. You really are, and I love you so much.
I love you too. And it's so funny because a lot of people do. They call me Joy all the time. Someone texted me yesterday. She goes, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I called you Joy." I go, "I am. So you're okay."
That's it. I am Joy.
You can call me either. So I love you, my friend. And thank you again. Until next time, my friends, choose love, choose joy, choose happiness. Blessings, everyone.
Thanks for listening to Inspired Conversations with publisher Linda Joy. Join our sacred space every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern and meet leading female visionaries, empowering authors, heart-centered female entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers. Inspired Conversations with Linda Joy is a soulful venue where guests share the obstacles they've overcome, along with wisdom and lessons learned on their personal journey that led them to the transformational work they do in the world. Inspired Conversations to empower you on your path to authentic and soulful living.